that launched. We're aiming for February, and we'll have a little article coming out here in the next day or so that kind of like explains sort of like FXUSD to folks that haven't been deeply into the into the weeds on these calls, or hanging around the Discord as much, but basically sort of a kind of just an announcement to the world that this is coming out.
Yeah, and I'm this process generally, when we're trying to the way we've done it in the past and the way we're kind of trying to do it for this in my mind is producing some kind of some master docs that are that are the sort of official team pronouncements, and we still have some there's a little bit more, there's a few T's to cross and I's to dot internally. We've got to still talk to a few people internally, some of whom are on this call, about getting some feedback on that and everything else.
So now we can be back to sorry guys.
Oh, I think we had somebody in the wrong call.
Mike was hot. Sorry.
Oh,
no problem.
Yeah.
It was CryptoBusters. Mike hot. Okay, no big deal.
Yeah.
So we where was I? K-Mets, help me out here.
You were talking about pronouncements.
Right. And so basically we try to do some of the basic stuff and some sort of diagrams to get the mechanics just right, and then get those to the front line Aladdin community first, and we'll tweet that out. But the idea is that our boosters, I mean, obviously A-Team first, but then secondly, the boosters get to dig in a little bit on this stuff, and then start cranking out their own, I want to say derivative, but their own, I would say better,
additive
marketing material, and basically trying to put those seeds out in a way that makes sure that the core information is correct, and then rely on the community to continue to move and amplify that. And I've been working on the first bit of the article, and for this article that I've been writing, I've been focusing a lot on the sort of the really big picture of the magic of FXUSD and how K-Mets and I were talking about this. There's this kind of idea that you come up with this, a new technology is rarely used correctly in the very, very beginning. So we're kind of trying to speed run this, where we both invented this this FX pair, or the stable leverage pair sort of primitive, and we're looking to figure out how's the best way to apply it, right? And FETH and XETH are the first line obvious. This is what the mechanism was made to do. What FUSD does is take that complete package and use it as a component in something bigger. And I think that using it as a component inside something bigger, and by that I mean we're talking about having multiple stable leverage pairs that all feed this FXUSD, the liquid FXUSD out in the world. And the way that by integrating those as sort of components in FXUSD, it allows us to focus on creating, rather than a technical solution, we're using that to create the economic engine of FXUSD. So I hope it'll become clearer once we get the article out. But the idea really is that by taking this Lego piece that we've created and putting it together in such a way that we pardon, Cyril?
Sorry guys, I didn't know my mic was on. Sorry.
Oh, okay, no problem.
No problem.
Just a YouTube video just started.
Oh.
Oh, funny. All right. Anyway, so it's all about this economic engine that leverages the power of the technical primitive of the stable leverage pair, and how we're going to be able to bring how we're going to offer this service to liquid staking derivative providers. So your Lidos, your Fraxes, anybody who ends up being included in FXUSD in the long run is going to have amazing incentive alignment with FXUSD, the asset, and also this platform to build their own liquidity in a really efficient way by incentivizing their own rebalance pool. So basically, you've got these LSD providers who will have they'll have a way to increase their own share of the backing of FXUSD. So this like very efficient way to turn up their own on-chain liquidity. And as they're fighting over that, like FXN basically, F of X and FXUSD provide the platform, right? It's the kind of like picks and shovels versus gold kind of idea. Am I getting any of this through? Because I feel like my brain to mouth translator is not working well. K-Mets, help me out here.
Yeah, I think the big unlock that we're trying to sort of like convey is that FXUSD is it's going to be a liquidity engine.
Yeah.
And it's a new DeFi primitive in terms of a liquidity engine. Like Curve is one form of a Starship, and FXUSD is going to be another one.
Mm-hmm,
and so these two things, FX protocol is going to be sort of like Aladdin's sort of giant liquidity engine. And so FXUSD is going to be the catalyst for that.
And that's so again, hopefully this will be more clear in the article, but that's kind of really what I'm trying to get at is like the magic of FXUSD from our perspective in the community and as like the people who are building it especially, is that it creates its own liquidity. Like the stablecoin game has always been, you have whatever technology that creates your stablecoin, and then you have to pay huge liquidity incentives in order to give it some kind of a yield, and then you have to go out and pound the pavement to try to build utility for it. So it's like, it's a very expensive process to build this liquidity, whereas the way that the FXUSD liquidity sort of engine is designed is that the liquidity is a byproduct of this extremely valuable service that the back end that the tokens that are backing FXUSD are actually they're paying for, or they are acquiring FXN to do, or whatever. They're fighting for the emissions into their rebalance pools, and the side effect is actually the main point of the protocol, which is to create all this, to suck in all this liquidity and create all of this value to back this FXUSD token, which requires no like on-chain pool 2 liquidity because it's mintable and redeemable with zero slippage in and out, as we've seen through Cyril's hard work with FETH, right? We're gonna be doing all the same things for FXUSD to get those guys integrated into the swap aggregators. So there's something really unique here, and there's something really, frankly, ingenious about more or less taking these players, these liquid staking derivative players, and actually everybody else who wants an F of F and X pair, and letting them do what's best for themselves, and more or less counting on them to do what's best for themselves, and having the result of that being what's best for FXUSD. Yeah,
it's been pretty interesting. We've had some folks reach out to us initially already because they kind of see the potential of having an F and X pair, and I think folks are starting to sort of realize the power of the engine.
Another really cool. Sorry, guys, I just wanted to step in for a second. Another really cool way to think about it is that it basically gives any LSD a 2-token model. So imagine, if someone, a new LSD pops up, they can have an F and X pair, and basically it would, because you have the F token, you have the X token, you automatically have that leverage aspect. You have that automatic sync, so it creates a higher APY on the platform for their LSD than they would even their own native pool 2 curve pools. So
yeah, of course.
It's a really interesting, way to think about it, because it just makes any LSD more attractive.
Well, and I mean, so I'll take that a step further and say that that is a feature of what I'm calling like the base building block of the F and X pair, right? And in fact, that same concept is applicable well beyond LSDs. It's applicable to virtually any yield-bearing token, yield-bearing token, right? And like that's kind of like the basic. Well, not to say basic. Like that is the incredible power of that pair, is to be able to say, like, first of all, if you don't consider anything else other than the FNX pair, you are now creating, as you say, like two new bits of utility for your underlying token, which not only provide that extra utility, but also pull that token out of circulation. They build your on-chain liquidity, right? So,
Right.
so first off, and you have these utilities which will bring in, hopefully, depending on what kind of token you're talking about, we'll bring in people who want to farm those yields with stables or who want to price speculate. And those are people who that is something that was not possible before you had the FNX pair and becomes possible. And it pulls your token out of circulation and into the reserve of f of x. So that's all, like, that's amazing. And that's like the baseline, that's the baseline of what that FNX pair. But what I've been stumbling over and failing to kind of get out is that it's incentives into the rebalance pool that pour incredible fuel on that fire. Because what happens is if a protocol, and this is true for an LSD backing FXUSD or an LSD not backing FXUSD or any token with an FNX pair, if they have a gauge for their rebalance pool, then they have the ability to turn up the incentives in their rebalance pool, which should directly pull yet more of their token into the reserve. And if you compare that to, as you were rightly saying, CryptoVest, if you compare that to like a pool 2, which is the normal way that people increase their on-chain liquidity, half of what's in that pool is something else, right? You're only getting half of the efficiency, right? Because you're paying
only
for
half the efficiency in a pool 2. I didn't think about that. That's a very, very, very important point.
It's huge. It means, and I'm trying to include this in the article, it means that your liquidity money spent goes twice as far.
Is twice as effective.
It's twice as effective.
Oh.
It goes
because of the leverage
into incentivizing your own token only.
Oof.
Yeah.
So
it just sorry guys, just clicked. I that was new for me. That's a big deal.
It was huge. And then the next step is to say, okay, they have the ability, everybody who has a token in FFX has the ability to turn up the incentives on their rebalance pool, which is hyper efficient. It's additive with the existing benefit that you get from just a basic FX pair, which is these two new, like, everybody who's speculating versus stable farming your token is pulling that token into the reserve in order to do so. So you get all that for free. Then you can crank up the number of people who are stable farming by paying incentives into the rebalance pool, which, by the way, when you do that, as you suck more into the rebalance pool, you push up the leverage on the token, which, if for speculators, higher leverage is often more attractive. So you've got that little mini flywheel there going where your marketing dollar spent into the rebalance pool, because you're only incentivizing your own token and not half of it is only your own token. It's already more efficient that way, but it becomes, you get that even extra layer of, like, in doing so, you make your X token higher leverage and arguably more attractive, right? Which,
that is amazing.
It's just a continuous flywheel. Okay, now let's go to the next level of abstraction up and talk about FXUSD. You take, anybody who's on the platform can participate in this FXN war, trying to allocate more resources to their own rebalance pool. They don't have to be part of FXUSD or not. But if we're talking about just LSDs that are backing the new FXUSD system, there is this extra layer, which is any utility that FXUSD creates, or that is created for FXUSD. So, like, when we first kick off FXUSD,
I got it.
Nobody's
awesome.
So there's not going to be utility for FXUSD on day one. There's not anything to do with it.
Yeah.
So everybody's going to be farming in the rebalance pools, but
unless there happens to be a curve pool, a PayPal curve pool out there somewhere.
Unless there happens to be as we build up that on-chain utility, what it will do is it will pull assets out of the rebalance pools to
Amping
go
up the
out
yield.
Exactly. And so the LSD providers who are backing FXUSD are strongly aligned with FXUSD, the asset, because the more of that asset that they can get out into the world, the higher their
bigger the
yields are in the
yield.
rebalance pool, the more TVL they will suck in on the reserve, because that's what they want to
So
do.
then Frax and all of these other guys will want to pair with FXUSD because they want to keep as much of it out in the world.
Exactly. Like
Yes.
so by having FXD out in the world, anybody who's backing FXUSD is benefiting from it. Now, that's not 100% benefit because there's multiple tokens backing it, right? So
Right.
but it's
Still.
it's one token that is 50. So if say you're Frax and you back like half of the FXUSD is, I don't know. Obviously, risk management is a huge deal here, and we will be limiting how much of each reserve token, like what the fractions are of each reserve token that can be backing FXUSD at any given time. So it's not just like the sky's the limit. But for the purposes of this discussion, let's say FXUSD is backed half by Frax, 20% by Frax. I don't know, some number by Frax's own. When they make a pool 2 with their own token, it's more efficient. It's more efficient. It's not perfectly efficient like the rebalance pool where it's exclusively their own token, but it's
20,
more
yeah,
efficient.
yeah.
It's like 20% or 50%, whatever,
Yeah.
more efficient, because on one side is fully their token and on the other side is like partly their token.
Oh, what's even more interesting about that, if you take it a step further, is that a small bribe into their pool 2 initially will create so much demand for FXUSD that it will automatically ramp up those numbers in their own rebalance pools. So it's very, very efficient because a very small bribe can get a lot of FXUSD out of the system, out of their rebalance pool.
That's right.
That's
And
just
one of the keys that's important here is that we require, like, the purpose of those underlying rebalance pools is to maintain stability in every situation, right? So having those rebalance pools and assets in there is important, like, for the stability of the system, which means that if you are an LSD provider backing FXUSD, you need to build depth in the liquidity pool, because we're not going to let, like, there's going to be limits to how much can be pulled out of that rebalance pool, right? And so the way to play the game as an LSD is to build the heck out of your rebalance pool, which has the dual benefit of pulling your token into the reserve and out of circulation, as well as making the basically opening up the liquidity of your reserve token for backing this FXUSD out in the world.
And what about routes? Like like using the liquidity in the reserves to basically trade in and out of assets. Like have we thought about
Shush. No, we haven't. We don't think about any of that, and we don't talk about that.
I was just curious, like, as far as fees, have we thought about fees?
Well,
like,
so
are we going to keep it low to incentivize routes?
So
we're. Oh, go ahead.
We're not sure yet.
Well,
so
where's that alpha?
This is well, it's alpha, and it's also not sure yet. It's both, because at a certain point in time, when you have a single, like when every one of those like when tokens backing FXUSD are instantly zero slippage mint and redeemable for FXUSD, assuming, again, risk management aside, because that will put limits on things, but like there's a zero slippage path between any backing token in FXUSD, like between any two backing tokens in FXUSD.
That's a big deal too. Very big.
And it becomes bigger as the backing for FXUSD increases. And I mean, one of the things that I don't know what I'm now, this is, by the way, guys, this is 100% Kruger and 0% vetted by anybody smarter than me, but like, I wonder if there is a world in the far future where the LSD liquidity of the system is so big that there is a chance that you can start adding in smaller amounts of other tokens to the FXUSD backing. because in principle, it doesn't have to be an ETH LSD, right?
Right.
Like
Ooh.
any USD pegged F token. So basically, that's like all of the zero beta tokens, right? At this point in time, that looks like anything that's not FETH is going to be zero beta. This is kind of the thinking. But like, if those are all zero, if we can start to like nudge in a few percent of reserve in a different token, then you open up that many more swap paths.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's great. Like say for example, like if you wanted to do CVX like 5% allocation, you could do the stable portion of CVX in the rebalance pool and earn that 20% yield added into the mix so that the rebalance pools earn higher yield, right? I mean, is that right?
So let's imagine a future where we want to include CVX in the FXUSD backing. So we're talking about releasing a regular FX pair for the rebalance pool is going to be earning a bunch of those CVX yields, which is going to pull a ton of CVX into the reserve because now you can farm CVX yields with a stable, and you know that's on its own. If we move that 5% backing into FXUSD, what happens is that there is a zero slippage swap path between CVX and each other token backing FXUSD.
Right.
And so now can buy.
And then once
sell.
you have enough of those, then it becomes a bigger thing for liquidity depth and the routes. And
exactly.
Then FX becomes kind of like the curve for LSDs. Is that
There
I think that's where we're going,
go.
is like FX becoming the curve of LSDs.
More than that.
And more than that. And if we're imagining a future, which I am not saying is anybody other than I am imagining, but if we're imagining a future where there's more than just LSDs backing FXUSD,
then it becomes bigger than
then it becomes bigger than just LSDs.
Yeah.
We've got a lot.
Let's not talk about that yet.
There's too many steps in the future. And it's also, we have to talk a lot. Every one of these kind of crazy ideas has to come step by step, and each step has to kind of be validated in the market. So let's, we try not to get ahead of ourselves. And
truly exciting, Joe. This is one hell of a product.
So I hope that you're gonna see. I think you've got it, and everybody else too, right? Yeah. But once we got to get this this article out to it's got to get to the A team, and then it's got to get maybe we'll even share with the boosters a little before we I'm
taking a look at it this morning. I'm going over it this morning, and so I'll have a draft of any changes or any edits or anything over back into the Discord.
Sure, sounds good.
Yeah.
But anyway, so there's a lot to talk about here, and all of that is kind of like, that's really just the big picture on FXUSD. That's how is FXUSD leveraging this FX base pair. But we probably also need to get content out there on like, how does it actually work, and like helping people to kind of understand the base mechanism. So, I'm going to try to get some stuff together on that. But in addition, we're going to be depending, as always, on our community. So
yes, exactly. Man, lots to look forward to. Very exciting.
Crazy. Absolutely crazy.
Yeah. What else we got here? Oh, hey, how about the booster round kickoff next week?
Oh, is it that time again?
It's about that time. We should probably have another booster round. So
we should have another booster round, and we should actually, I don't know where I was going to go with that. We should have another booster round. Let's do it.
Well, if folks haven't filled out the tally form yet, or have some additional stuff they want to add in terms of content, you can go ahead and fill it out now.
Oh yeah, how's that going, K-Mets? Or do you have like a sheet going of? I haven't looked at the results for that. How's that looking?
Yeah, we do. I would encourage folks to kind of wait until they have like a good bit of content and then kind of enter it once, because if you enter it like multiple times, you're just kind of making things a little bit more difficult for your buddy K-Mets. So K-Mets,
are our friends spamming your spreadsheet?
There's a little bit of carpet bombing going on, but it's okay. It's manageable right now. So, but I appreciate everybody putting in the content. But yeah, if you haven't entered it yet, please do so.
Yeah, I guess, and the hope here is we're not trying to I say we. This is really K-Met's thing. I don't want to put words in your mouth here, buddy. But the idea is less about trying to like be a comprehensive link to every word and song and sniff and whatever that you've made that is kind of related, so much as to just give voters a couple of like highlights of your stuff.
Yeah.
Right. And then people like those voters, if they, first of all, if they care enough to actually want to see what you've made, it's not that hard to chase those strings down, right? Once they've got a couple of links and they can see your stuff, then, you know, then that's how you pick up the follows, and that's how they see more of your stuff. It's less about like, it's less about trying to compete on like, look how many links I have, because I don't think we're going to show every link. I think we're going to only show, I mean, maybe I'm wrong about this, but
no,
the idea is just to show like a couple of, you know, like top 1, 2, or 3 kind of thing.
Yeah, definitely. If you submitted more than that, I'm going to whittle it down for you. But yeah, it's definitely just sort of like a high level, just sort of kind of for folks to just have an idea. So, but it's worked out well. It's we've had a lot of folks submit on it and put in some really good content. So
that's good. That's
very
good, and
exciting.
that'll help. Like I say, that'll help the most the voters who are. I mean, I wish it was everybody. I don't know that it is, but the voters who are keenest to like really find the people who are making the best content and reward them.
Yeah,
That's what I do, kind of, mostly.
well,
I
think
just
that's
only vote for K-Metz in hopes that he's gonna give me a kickback, and he hasn't yet.
Well, you got to up your bribes, sir. I mean,
Right.
come on.
Okay. Yeah, I've been cheap. I'm sorry.
Oh boy. Okay. What else we
Okay.
got?
Boost around check mark.
Yep,
Twitter Spaces. There's stuff happening.
Yeah, we have 2 Twitter Spaces tomorrow. The first one is with blockchain banter. They're with kind of Bancor and Carbon DeFi, and excuse me, that'll be at noon UTC tomorrow, 6 a.m. my time. But that's going to be with myself and Cyril, and so we're going to go pop on with them and talk all things FX with them. So if you're available, tune into that one. And
You gonna banter?
we'll banter a little. Yeah, there'll be a little bit of
Okay.
bantering. Yeah.
All right.
And
I mean, I'm
then,
a little jealous, but okay, that's fine. You can you can banter with other people. I guess it's fine.
Well, it's you're the one that I love to banter with the most. Sir.
Okay. All right. Well, that's fine then. You can.
And then another one tomorrow with MISO Finance, and so that one is going to be at 6 p.m. UTC, and that's going to be the A team, and Cyril's going to join us as well for that one, and yeah, Cyril's been just knocking it out of the park, just
kicking ass and taking names,
helping
right?
us kind of market and do some integrations with stuff, and so
Wow,
I think folks are going to like hearing about MISO Finance, because it's a peer-to-peer lending protocol, and it's kind of unique, and so it'll be a cool way to get more leverage on your XETH or borrow against your FETH or whatever you want to do, really. But and that's on mainnet, yeah. So and it's integrated now. You could do it now if you wanted. So
really,
but we'll just kind of walk through it and kind of talk to them about it, and it's pretty cool.
So awesome integration, and it sounds like Cyril had a pretty big part in getting that to work. So I got one of these for him.
Absolutely, well deserved.
Yeah,
well
absolutely.
Deserved.
Okay, and that's FFX, I think, right?
For this week, yep. And
yeah, just that much, much, not anymore.
Yeah, and so I guess we can kind of shift gears to Clever.
Okay, so there's something interesting coming here, eh? What's going on?
Yeah, so we've had some conversations here recently with some community members about sort of Clever and how it works, like CryptoVestor and Boz and the team. We've kind of been chit-chatting about it, and CryptoVestor and Boz have sort of been getting an education in Clever, and one of the things that Boz has done like this really great deep dive, and I think he's actually going to have a report come out in the next week or so that talks about Clever. But one of the things that we've been sort of like talking about for quite a while now is basically optimizing Clever and sort of twiddling the knobs and kind of making it work such that it's the best experience possible for people that use it. And that was when we did CIP -3, the proposal to sort of limit the Clev emissions, and sort of
that's right.
incentivize bribes with CVX. That was sort of one part of it. And then what we're going to propose here is kind of a way to kind of improve the Clev CVX peg to bring a little bit more
discount, right? We say peg all the time, but peg is such the wrong word. I mean, I use it too, but it's not a peg. It shouldn't be pegged. But so I have a thought about this. And so, we're getting back into the weeds on Clever a little bit here, which, it's kind of fun to knock the dust off, because I haven't really put my, dug deep back into that mechanism. But you've got Clev CVX. You can borrow Clev CVX against the CVX that you have put in that you've put in Clever. You can borrow 50% LTV, and then Clever charges fees based on only the revenue that your CVX has earned. So when you put CVX in Clever and it's automatically bribing and harvesting the maximum yield from those bribes, you're paying, you can borrow up to 50% LTV, and the cost is calculated based only on how much your original CVX deposit is earning, right? And the fee is 20% of the yields of your underlying CVX. And one of the things that we struggled with in the beginning of Clever is that 20% just it sounds like a really high fee, and everybody's like, oh no, that's no good, it's terrible, it's too expensive. Now, of course, a lot of people said this, and then the deposits on Clever skyrocketed to now Clever is one of the biggest holders of CVX. So obviously the talking heads and the people who speak with their money are saying different things, or were saying different things. But I think that I think that one of the reasons that the money spoke here is because it's not really a great way to describe the fee of what you're actually doing with Clever, because you are borrowing CVX against what you need to look at is what's the equivalent annual borrowing cost of that CVX. And when you calculate it out, if the borrowing, if CVX is yielding, let's say CVX is yielding 30%, and you're paying 20% of that 30%, that's actually a 6% annual borrowing cost. And in fact, it's actually more like 12, because you're only borrowing 50% LTV. But 12% or whatever, some number around 10 is to borrow a 30% yielding asset is crazy low. And that's what's happened, is that people correctly recognize that and borrowed mad. And then what the other side of the cost equation is that discount when you're swapping that Clev CVX into CVX that you can loop back in if you want to create that leverage. What we see now with the discount is it's in the mid to high 20s, right? 25, 28, kind of in that ballpark. Yeah. And what that tells you is that people are, in addition to the very small amount that they're paying in an ongoing APR, people are willing to pay an additional 25% upfront cost on what they've borrowed, right? And that's what that discount represents for borrowers, is it represents an additional upfront cost. And so the sort of where the peg stabilizes tells you what the market is willing to pay as an upfront cost for that CVX, given the cost on the back end already of the annual APR. So when we're talking about twiddling the knobs of the fee on Clever, the idea here is that we want to move more of the cost that borrowers are paying from the discount, from the swapping phase, into the automatic slowly over time phase. We want to balance that out, because as we do that, it should, economic, theory here, or price theory or whatever, if you're paying more on the front end, then it should balance out to less on the back end, right? Because you've got to pay both of those costs as you're looping. So the proposal that's coming is to push the Clever yield fee from 20% to 30%, and take that additional amount of fees that are being charged and fire them directly, not So taking those additional 10%, putting them directly into the furnace to cut the furnace repayment time down significantly, or at least to significantly increase the rate of CVX flow into the furnace. And so by doing that, that's the other way that you affect the discount on Clev CVX versus CVX. And so the idea is we want to try to find the optimal balance between the fee charged on the back end, which is like by the deposit, and then the fee that you de facto pay on the front end, which is the discount, or the front end, which is the discount. This should actually bring those a lot closer in line. And I think once those are in line, the growth potential of Clever opens up again.
Yeah, I think sort of the quick takeaway is we're going to try to basically shorten the time to maturity for Clev CVX to become CVX. Bring more Clev CVX from the LP back into the furnace.
Yeah.
And make the furnace a very attractive place to place that. And in doing so, it increases the APR for the furnace, and then also as a byproduct increases the APR for the LP. And so that will help sort of like with liquidity, kind of like help tip the scales back in the favor of sort of like equalizing the pool for the LP a little bit. I mean, the discount's always going to be there. There will always be more Clev CVX than CVX.
Exactly, but I think the key is that when the pool is badly imbalanced, it kind of creates unnecessary friction in the system, and so we can push the pool closer to balance by rejiggering where, like, we've got this like 3-body problem, right, between the depositors, the swap pool, and the furnace. And so if we're working on getting those guys, like, it basically, the thing is that once that system is in balance, it should open up like further scaling, maybe in a significant way for Clever, because especially with Clever, I think that there's sort of the next leg up, or the next step up for Clever is going to be pretty serious, like could potentially be pretty serious size, right? And people who deal with bigger size, I think that we potentially become more attractive on those size plays once we get the thing in properly balanced. Yeah.
So trying to look for the future there, and so we'll be putting together a proposal, and that'll be coming out here next few days. And so we'll definitely notify everybody when that's out, and you can take a look.
Yeah, take a look, leave your feedback. I mean, the other thing that I will say, at least my personal opinion on Clever, is that because it's been running successfully for a very long time in crypto terms. Deposits are very stable. I think that we're in a really good place to start to make adjustments and really like be able to make those tweaks and really get a good result back from the sort of experiment, and make sure that the system responds the way that it should, which is a lot harder to do in like early bootstrapping of any protocol. Like before you get to that kind of steady state, when you're in the early bootstrapping phase, and like half of the reason that TVL comes or goes from your protocol is just like completely unrelated to how it works. It's more like novelty or like airdrop farmers or whatever. It's really hard to like get signal out of that noise. But Clever's in a place now where I think the noise is low, so I think we can pull signal out and really start to make it better.
Yeah. So there you go. The next item we have is if we're going to have a booster round for FX, why not have one for Clever too? So
let's do it.
We're going to have that kickoff next week as well. So same deal. Please go fill out the form if you've been boosting Clever.
Yeah, and if you haven't, now's a great time to get some content out there. And especially if we're going to be talking about this governance proposal, try to balance these 3 things and really like light the fire under some bigger volume. Good time to start boosting, or pick your boosting back up if you've been resting on your boosting laurels.
That's right. Yep. Okay.
All right. Couple quick other items, and then one major item.
That's
which
right.
we really should have had at the top. But Concentrator, we've got 3 new harvesters. Is that right?
It looks like it. Yes. So we've got Fraxeth, Raptith Harvester now harvest into ACRV. So that one's
A-Curve.
live.
The OG is.
That is
that's
the
A-Curve.
OG, man.
That is the OG.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
also brand new on the Concentrator website with these cool new tags on them is we've got Frax SDI and Frax PYUSD.
That's
So-
right. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Both of those go into
the
A-Curve.
PayPal USD is, I don't know. That's an interesting beast. And if you want to get in on the ground floor, because it seems like they are starting to play the bribe game and they're getting serious about liquidity on chain. So want to get in on the ground floor, this is the spot. Now I believe, and maybe I'll get Paul to verify this, the APRs shown on the website are not correct yet. Those are they show basically 0. I do not believe those are correct yet. The APR will update once the new APRs come in through Convex. Is that right, Paul?
Yeah, it's gonna happen at midnight when the rewards start flowing in.
Right. Okay.
Midnight UTC. So,
Oh, right. Yeah.
10
So it's
hours
like
from now.
8 p.m. Eastern for those of you in Eastern. So yeah, keep an eye. I would suggest a launch party, but I won't be available.
Well, this is it. Yeah, exactly. So those are really
Um,
cool. So keep an eye on those.
Yeah, and then so Concentrator, new harvesters, check them out, use them. All harvesting into A-Curve, all A-Curve harvesters. So just to kind of close the loop on that. Last one, KMET's the thing we probably should have kicked the whole meeting with.
Yeah. So A-Team has a new member, and that guy's on the call, CryptoVestor.
CryptoVestor, yay! I imagine that we kind of spilled that alpha early, what with all of the endless tweets and also the talking about it earlier in the call. But
Yeah, I think pretty much everybody in crypto Twitter knows now.
I think
Yeah.
they know. I think they
Thank
know.
you
But we
guys so
wanted
much.
to
Really appreciate it.
to call it out. Welcome. Oh,
Appreciate
so good to get you to see you becoming like more and more deeply involved. Really, just it's amazing. I tweeted out that that's like getting the CryptoVestors of the world, and also the CryptoVestor himself, involved through this organic, come to the community, learn about the products, get excited about them, become an expert on what they're, and then just this it's the same way I came, it's the same way KMETs came. I mean, it's such a huge
Right.
advantage of building in public, and so it's a huge celebration, and we want to welcome you.
No,
Yeah.
thank you so much, guys. And this is a very, very special community. I'm really, really proud to be here, and look forward to 2024. And we'll be working with everybody to try and have gain traction for Aladdin products. And I'm starting with PayPal USD. I'm talking to those guys actively. I'm doing that. I'm also
And that is
gonna
pretty
be-
awesome, by the way.
Yeah,
Big.
yeah. They are very interested. Just if we're going to leak a little bit more alpha, I mean, they are interested in doing a co-incentivized pool with FX. Actually, they're looking to do it with as many pairings as they can, but they're starting to look for anyone that's willing to do a co-incentivized pool. So I mentioned FX, even though it hadn't been released yet, and they're receptive to it. So as soon as we get something, we get a little TVL, I'm sure they'll be willing to try. And that will help now that I understand even a little bit further, that will help pull FX USD out into the world, which will increase rebalance pool yields, which is amazing.
Well, and that's there's going to be some there's as we get people thinking about these co-incentivized pools they're a foot in the door, right? They're a great way to get talking to these teams, and because for us, and as you very well know, but just kind of for the community, the magic of FFX is that it doesn't actually need any kind of pool two. Any pool two work that we choose to do is totally voluntary, and it's marketing, right?
It's bonus. It's a bonus.
And a co-incentivized pool is actually really highly it's back to 100%. Well, close to it's not inefficient, fully shouldering the incentives on a pool two where you don't have the partner on the other side picking up half the bill, right?
Right.
So you know, it's so
Right.
great. It's really so powerful that
and
we can
so-
choose to do those.
Right, and so for everybody on the call to understand, you know, the way they're thinking is, you know, their game is that they want to build as much liquidity as possible for PYUSD, which is why they're going to all of these partners. I did introduce them to the Prisma people, and they're going to be doing one with MKUSD. They're looking to go to the partners that will do some type of co-incentivization first, and then obviously whatever other ones that they want to pair with later. But it's definitely something I'm working on. I'm also working on trying to break into the Latin American community, seeing if I can get, you know, more interest there. So, you know, it's going to be some exciting times, and I definitely think there's a huge future for Aladdin and for FX, and so I'm glad to be here.
So cool. Well,
Well, we're
welcome.
glad
I wonder, is there a point at which the F of X internal calls are going to become like fully bilingual?
Who knows? All I know is that once the Latin American thing catches fire, I think it'll be very big. I think bigger than we think, and maybe we might have to even have like separate spaces. And you know, I'm happy to do that, you know, and help. But I actually think that this FX product, the leverage product XETH, will be very, very popular in the Latin American community.
Well, I'll
I
tell you
think
this,
it will.
Yeah.
I'll
Go,
tell you
Kmx.
this much: like conversations in the A team now between Meta CVX and CryptoVestor. I think the A team's about to go full blown Spanish. It's
bilingual.
Full global.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, it's good that
Well,
I've been
and I
able
mean,
to help.
and don't
you know, with
forget,
the
like
memes.
we do a ton of Aladdin already does a ton of great Chinese language stuff, thanks to, again, like
Yeah.
Yeah,
we
Tao.
brought back in
yeah.
Echo and Tao, and like, holy cow. So we're it's not bilingual. We are global, multilingual,
Yeah.
Exactly.
sublingual.
Exactly.
We even speak
no, that
Texan
meant
on
something
some of
different.
these calls.
Oh yeah.
And Canadian.
and Canadian and rural. Now listen, I don't bust out my rural dialect on these calls, but you know, I know that you could, K-Meds, and I could too. I could probably keep up. I think that the rural dialects are kind of similar between the two
Possibly.
countries.
Oh yeah.
Anyhow,
That's really interesting with Clever. I'm going to have to tell Boz and let me know when the recording is up so that I can share this with him, because he's going to be really interested. He told me he wanted to start depositing into Clever. And if this does pass, it might actually make the Trident guys more interested in Clev CVX. I know their biggest gripe when I mentioned it to them was about the liquidity issue, but maybe this helps out. So
well, and if we can balance it, I think that's the idea, is that if we get the whole system into a little bit better balance, and I think it can start to sort those issues out over time, right? Like, it's really about, like, you know, it's the 80-20 thing, except for the last 20% is really important for Clever here, and so yeah.
it'll be really interesting.
We'll kick that off. I
Very
think
good
Paul will
advancement
tell
for
you.
Clever, I think.
I think so. And I think Paul usually tries to get the recording for this out pretty quickly after the.
We'll tell you both, Balls and you, CryptoBuster, once the recording is out.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Usually
Thank you so much, Paul.
Usually the YouTube is up as soon as we're finished. So
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
I noticed that
Oh,
goes
yeah.
up pretty quick, so I'll
I think it's
be on the
automatic.
lookout for that.
I think we're like live streaming there, aren't we?
I
Yeah.
don't know about that.
No, I think I think we are.
I think
I-
we are.
yeah, I
I
think
saw
we
a
are.
live stream before. Yeah.
We do
Yeah,
live
well,
stream on Twitter.
Yeah, it's
all community
Gary
calls.
sets all that up. You didn't even know, K-Mets. You're Twitter your
Oh, God.
YouTube famous. You're a YouTuber.
God bless those people.
Yeah. Well, I mean, both of them who watched you on YouTube appreciate you.
All right.
Yeah, I think we should share. You know, we spoke to LSD recently, and they have a brilliant strategy how they're going to play with Clip CBX. I think we can share that with you after the call, and you can share that with PayPal.
That would be very helpful, because I'm going to get on a call with the Trident people on Friday morning. So if I can get that information, then I can maybe convey it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. The wheels are turning here, folks.
Yes, they are.
The wheels are turning, and it is time
We've got one
for
last
us to
thing
get back
here.
to work. Oh, there's an. Oh, right. Oh, I just about chopped it off.
Just about jumped the gun there, sir. We've got 2 merchandise giveaways this month.
Merch.
And I tell you what, like, the A team has started to work with Llama Market, like and they, some of their merch is pretty. I got some of their merch for Christmas, and top quality stuff, really cool stuff that they have, and we're working with them, and I believe MetaCVX has posted the giveaway for this month, but he's posted the first one, so you can go check it out on Twitter. But the second one is going to be really, really cool. I think folks are going to be pretty excited.
Okay,
about
hold
it
on,
as
hold on.
well.
Can we just rewind a minute here? You got some for Christmas.
Yeah.
Did you got it from yourself for Christmas, or you like
Ordered it.
someone
You ordered it.
know? How did you get it for Christmas?
Well, maybe I requested it, Kruger.
Oh,
My
I see.
wish
So
list.
you had like a wish list, and you were like, go to this website. Like, I don't know how much
He
you talk
asked Santa
about.
Claus. He
Yeah.
asked Santa
Well,
Claus.
yeah, that was it. Santa knows everything. He knows what you're. Because
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I'm just not sure. Like, you never know when how much people talk about their crypto world in their real world. Some people do, and some don't. And I'm just curious to know how it came to be under your tree. So
Yeah.
anyway,
I politely asked Santa Claus, and I was a
Okay,
good
yeah.
boy all year.
it was in the letter.
and
Were you?
so-
I mean, okay, all right. That's. I
Look,
guess I'm
I'm
not really
trying
in
to
a position
promote
to judge.
some good stuff here. So-
Merch.
That's true. That's
Yeah.
true. We're trying to be a light in the darkness of crypto.
Yeah.
And that's what we
Yeah.
do here, folks.
So there you go. One community call down for 2024.
20, yeah. And thanks everybody for joining us. Everybody who's able to tolerate it.
Yep. We'll see you on the other side of the Bitcoin ETF.
Yep.
Tonight, trust me, bro.
Trust me,
That's
bro.
right.
Yeah. Don't forget to follow at SEC Gov. They're the only source of information that you can trust for information about the SEC.
I think today they're going to
Unless you
send
get
out
sim swapped.
they're going to send out a Raven. They'll be sending out the announcement via Raven.
Smoke signals.
I'm watching
Yeah,
for
there
smoke
you go.
signals. Exactly.
All right.
All right.
All
Thank you,
right.
guys.
Ciao,
Have a good one.
everybody.
Bye,
Thanks.
everybody.
Thank you, guys. Bye.